Hi, this is Lady Lou coming to you from deep in the heart of Texas. I'm known as the baby boomer babe. I know I'm a little old to be a babe, but that's okay. I love it. And I can't wait to introduce you to my newest guest. This is a lady I have just recently discovered, and I'm so tickled that I have. Her name is Terry Seufert, and she lives in Tomball, not too far from me here in Montgomery. So we're basically neighbors. Anyway, she's such a sweet, loving lady, and she's got a list of credentials after her name that won't quit, starting with licensed social worker. So all of these things that she has studied and gained expertise in only help her to do what she's doing now. And I think most of you, including myself, until just recently, have never heard of saging. It's SAGE-ING.
Yes.
Saging. And you've heard of people who are older, the elders, they have very wise wisdom. They're sages. I'm sure that's where that came from. Is that right, Terry?
That is absolutely correct.
Very good. Well, welcome, Terry. Give us a little bit of a background on you personally, if you would.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. I'm really excited to be here with you and to have this opportunity to talk about saging. I got involved in it about a year and a half ago. It was one of those stories where I was just led to a course that was being offered in the Saging International Bulletin, a magazine I received every month for months that I never even opened, until one day I really was driven to take a look at what it was they were talking about. I know about saging, which is what you do in your home to clear the energy, but I really wasn't sure what they were referencing when they were talking about us as elders. And so I got involved. I took a course in Milwaukee in March when it was 12 degrees there. This little Texas girl was quite cold. And I flew home knowing that that was my next step. I have spent the past 35 years of my professional career in social service. I've worked in a maximum security prison in New York for women. I worked on many grants with large nonprofits here in the Houston area, helping people with various disabilities and handicaps to finding employment. And I was looking for the next step in my personal life. How could I take all of the skills I had learned in working out in the community and move it forward for my next journey on my path? I was not looking for a new job. I was looking for a passion and something to really invest my energy into.
Oh, that's a beautiful story.
Thank you.
And you know what? At our age, I don't know how old you are, and it doesn't matter, but we know you're a baby boomer. So
yes, I am.
When you change career, not really changing careers, but go into a new field as still part of what you're already doing, I love that, because it shows you have an open mind and you're willing and ready to learn more and help others. That's the key.
What I have learned in this work and the people that I have met and through the classes that I have facilitated is that some people finally have an opportunity to pursue their talent, whether it be art or writing books, something they always wanted to do, but they were so busy raising a family and earning a career and then taking care of children, putting children through college, that they then realize it's a time in their life to do what they really want to do.
Oh.
Other people, like myself, I think, I've spent years perfecting skill sets and understanding, and I wanted to keep that foundation, but I knew the topic and the direction needed to change. And it made sense for me, for where I am in my life, to see what other people who are eldering, you know, the wise elders, as you said, what were they doing?
Perfect. So you are teaching classes, I understand, in the Houston area, and you
I
have
do.
one coming up in November.
I do. I have been facilitating classes. My next class will be Saturday, November 17th at Unity of the Woodlands. It's on Gosling Road in Spring, Texas. And the topic will be on legacy.
Legacy.
Yes.
Now, explain that.
Yes, and that face is a face. That's the reaction I usually get. Actually, to be honest, it was the reaction I had. People say, well, what is my legacy? What do I have to offer? It really is starting with an ethical will, which has nothing to do with legal papers or your assets. It has to do with sharing and passing down from generation to generation your values. And
Oh,
then it's taking a look at, most people want to be remembered, they want to be known, and they want to feel as if they belong to something. And so taking time to excavate your life and think about what's important to you will, it teaches people how they can leave a legacy in a manner that makes sense to them. So I'm very excited about it. It will be 3 hours from 9 a.m. till noon. And
perfect.
there'll be more information, more specifics a little later on.
And I'll put that information in the description under the YouTube video so that you'll have some kind of a reference for it. And then I'll make sure that I post it in the Facebook. And Terry does have a Facebook page, so just go and look for her and you'll see the spelling of her name in the YouTube video. So that way you can keep track. Just go ahead and friend her and friend me too at the Baby Boomer Babe. I have 2 websites, my personal at Louise Lady Lou Dewey, and then I have the Baby Boomer Babe Senior Lifestyles. So I've got 2 that you can come and join us. So, gosh, Terry, I am just so thrilled to have found you also so that I can learn more about eldering and saging and doing all that good stuff. Because even at my age, I never stop. I'm one of those. The day I have set 90 as the day I'll retire for good. I figured that's long enough.
Well, you know, there are people in Saging International who are writing books in their 90s.
Well, of
So
course.
retirement can be defined any way you want it to be.
That's true. So if you've got a talent, you ladies and gentlemen out there, now at this age is the time to start it and just go with it, because you may not have anything that's going to stop you now. You don't have a job to go to 9 to 5. You don't have a lot of kids running around. You have the time, but it's a matter of you deciding. It's a choice that all of us make. Because I didn't start to do videos and interviews like this until I was 70, I won't say, in my 70s. So anybody can do anything if they choose it, and then they have to learn, right, Terry? There's a learning curve to most of it. But
There
we're
is a
open.
learning curve. And you know, the technology piece of all of this, I will admit, has been a real challenge. And every time I am successful, I am so proud of myself. You know, because age, and you know, we always say, oh, age is just a number. But I think society today has some very defined views of aging, you know, and what that looks like. And unfortunately, we believe in saging that our culture does not necessarily respect the baby boomers or the elders as much as other cultures do. You know, we reach a certain age and then you go on to Medicare and then you're sort of shuffled off to maybe, you know, a residence with people identical to you and your age. And there can be the thought that there's nothing left for us to do or to offer.
Oh,
And that is the paradigm that I feel very passionate about helping to change.
right.
It does mean that you're saying goodbye to who you were, to the things that you did. And it does mean letting go of some of your past and looking back. But it opens the door to possibilities that sometimes you can't even imagine. And if people go to saging.org, they will see stories of people, like I said, in their 90s writing books. There are no limits. but you have to do the work.
Yes.
And that's what saging really is all about. It's about doing the work.
And there are people who say, well, I don't know how to use a typewriter,
Mm-hmm.
or I don't have a good computer.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? You can go to the electronics store and get yourself a little recording device, or on your telephone. If
Right.
you're a smartphone user, you have places in there, apps and stuff, or you
Mm-hmm.
can get the apps. Speak your book. Talk into your phone. Just say your book and then have someone else transcribe it. Then you can go back and edit it, because it'll need a little editing. And I didn't know this for many years, Terry. A
Mm-hmm.
book, anything as of a book is considered a book after 75 pages. So your book doesn't have to be a tome, 250 pages or more. 75 is enough. Or you can even call it a booklet if it's
Mm-hmm.
less than that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So do that book. Just speak it, if nothing else. It's
And there are
fun.
so many options. There are so many classes, you know, I think the biggest thing is having the time. And then it comes down to making the decision, again, to do the work, you know, taking personal responsibility. How do I want to spend this time? You know, staying healthy, but then staying mentally active and also involved in society. A big part of Saging International is intergenerational. If you and I don't share our stories, the wisdom that we have gained through our life experiences, if we don't pass that on without judgment, without harsh opinions, but if we don't let younger generations know, all of that wisdom goes with us. And that's unfortunate. So intergenerational work, you know, sharing life experiences, what you learned the hard way, and letting people know that all of those challenges and lessons you can and will get through.
Right.
You can do it.
Right. Buck up, as they used to tell me as a kid. Buck up and do it. And I still say that today, because that's what I've had to do. I didn't know how to make YouTube videos. Huh?
Right?
But I found a friend, a dear friend. She's sitting behind me right this minute.
Mm-hmm.
She does the technical work. Because once I've done the stuff in front of the camera, I go blank. What's next? I don't know. I send it to her through an email, the link, and she does all the work and puts it up on YouTube. So find yourself a techie, and it might even be your grandchildren.
And that's it. They would love to teach you, you know, instead of, you know, we put each other down, or elderly people sometimes criticize the younger people because they're not doing things the way we did them. Of course they're not, and they shouldn't be. They're doing them their way. And so if there can be open dialogue between the generations and allow the younger people to teach you, they just feel so empowered to be able to pass their knowledge on to us at this stage.
Right.
So it can be a win-win for everybody.
And fun. It'll be fun.
And fun.
Some of us are sitting at home watching daytime TV and sitting in the rocking chair and saying, what's next? Is this all there is to retirement?
Exactly.
No. Find out something that you love. And you all know there's something in there that you know you love to do. Maybe it's cooking and teaching people to cook different recipes that you've gotten from your grandparents. I know there's somebody out there, I forgot who he is. He teaches how to make hardtack and different things that the pioneers used to make.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know what hardtack is. It's some kind of a hard bread. I know that.
I don't know. You saw the surprised look on my face. I have no idea.
It doesn't need refrigeration, because nobody had refrigeration back in the pioneer days. So there's so much out there that you know that you can impart your wisdom about to others. And even if it's doing it on a video or a recording, because there's podcasts, and you know the difference between a video and a podcast is that the podcast, almost said podcast, the podcast has no video. It's just the words, audio. Okay. And you don't have to be on camera, because I know there are people who don't want to be on camera.
Right.
So you can put up a picture, just something that you love, like my background. Just put that on the screen and you talk in the background.
And people can actually go to a church or a school, or go to, their neighborhood social center. You can find places where there are already people. You were talking about recipes and what you know how to cook. Wise elders can take their favorite meals, write them all down, create recipes, and then take it to a group of younger people, or even, younger adult people, to be able to share that and to pass it on. There's something about that giving and receiving that is very empowering for everybody. If they're a little intimidated initially by the technology today, there are places that people can go to and reach out in order to become involved in their community and not sit home alone and not be waiting, for the clock to run out of ticks. There's so much more to life. When I was starting this journey, and I left my professional career. I retired from it. I have a small consulting business. I was working out of my home, and, everything was just wonderful. And yet there was something missing. I kept thinking, is this it? Is this the end? Is there more? I was really too young to be thinking that, you're done. And so I really did go through a period of mourning. I loved the jobs I had. I did work really hard. I had long hours. One of my most favorite memories, I was in Washington, D.C., presenting a flag on Capitol Hill on behalf of some of the veteran programs that I was involved in. And I had a department of 40 people that reported to me, and it was exciting. It was a lot of work. And the thought of letting that go was sad to me. It was an ending. Well, that's part of life. It's about changes. We're in fall now. The leaves are turning brilliant colors, and it's sort of their grand finale. And that's part of what life is. We go through these transitions and changes. And then I moved through that, and I finally said, oh, thank you. I'm not responsible for 40 people. I don't have to drive downtown. And so it's a process. And saging is about looking at that process, facing it, knowing that you have the energy and the power and the confidence to do that, to move through it and, kind of savor life and say, now, what's next?
Exactly. And as we all remember, Grandma Moses, look at the artist she became in her elder years.
Absolutely.
And I happen to know, I won't mention names, but I know the wife of one of our astronauts, one of our famous astronauts. In his retirement, he became a painter and sold his paintings. Because of his name, he had gained some he was famous. I can't think of the word, but he would sell his paintings. So he did what he loved after he retired.
Exactly.
So we know it's out there. We just have to go and look within and say, what is it that I love? I have a passion. What is it? Write it down.
Write it down. Talk to people. One of the things I also do with saging is I run a wisdom circle. It's a gathering of people. We've been meeting together for a year and a half. We meet once a month. There's no special training for that, just a desire to host it. It happens to be in my home right now, but it can be anywhere, in a church, in a rec hall, someplace where people come together at this stage in their life and are open to talking about the benefits of saging and the benefits of becoming an elder, and then talking about some of the difficult things that we face. Some of the fears that we might have, some of the challenges we might have. And it's an opportunity for people of our age to get together and to just break down those barriers that getting old means deterioration. That is not necessarily a truth for everyone, and it doesn't have to be. So I think that is something also, if people are interested in, on the website, Saging International, saging.com, people can find that information if they have just friends. This isn't the kind of dialogue that most people have over coffee when they're socializing, because it's deep, it's meaningful, It's about the journey. It's about your spirituality and where you think you're going. I'll share with you, one, when I facilitate some classes, one of the exercises that I do is I give people an index card and I tell them to write down 3 things that they're excited about. They're moving on in their years and they're gaining more life experience. And what are 3 of the things they love about that? And then, of course, the other side of the index card is one of the things that they're challenged by.
Oh.
And inevitably, the challenge is always not that people are necessarily afraid to die. Their concern is how that will happen, how long it will be. Will they have a disease? And immediately when people realize other people share that, you can just see so much of that worry fall off of them. And one woman actually said, I had nobody else to talk to about this.
Oh.
And I thought, it's a little sad. And I think we should have other people to talk to about it. I think that we should be listening to other people's fears and letting them know that there are other people there for them.
And it's not necessarily family that we need to talk to.
Well,
sometimes,
yeah.
Oh, people we don't even really know or know socially. It's fun to talk to them because they have different ideas that they can share with us. But
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, I went to the Saging International website, and there's a place where you can sign up to get, it's a newsletter, right?
Yes.
And then I signed up I got the little booklet on how to start my own saging circle.
Your wisdom circle, too. Good for you.
Yeah, I'm going to put together one here in Conroe.
Good for you. And if anyone else is interested, if people wanted a little workshop or to sit down and talk together, one, that is my background, running groups, facilitating groups. So that's something I'm very comfortable with. And it's very clear. The booklet that you downloaded is very clear of what it is and what it isn't.
Right.
It's not the place to talk about your spouses or your grandchildren or your vacation. It's, it's not a social setting. It is specifically for people to talk about where they are at this stage in their life. I'm really glad that you're doing that.
Oh,
I think
am
it's really needed.
Well, tell us how people can reach you. So if they want to have a little meeting or a workshop from you.
Well, right now they can reach me via email. It's Terry with a Y, Terry .Seufert, SEUFERT @gmail.com. They can reach me there right now. I am also on Facebook. I've been encouraged by my friend here to get a Saging International group going on Facebook, and I will do that over the next couple of weeks so that we can all gather together online and let people know where some of the classes will be and how we can get together. And anything that I can do to help facilitate, to spread the word, I am so open to sharing that.
That's great. Because that's what it's all about, sharing.
Absolutely.
That's one of my middle names. I have a bunch of them, but that's a big one. Well, thank you, Terry. This has been so enlightening, and I hope everybody out there feels the same way, because it's a movement, I think, isn't it, Terry?
It is a movement, and I am excited about it. Saging International has been around since the 90s. It has gone through a few changes and names, but it's based on a book that was written by Rabbi Zalman. It's called From Aging to Saging, and it's been around since the 90s. And I think now, because of us, the baby boomers, there are so many more of us that we need information that's out there to help us. I have 3 of my grandparents didn't live beyond 60. Early 60s. So there really weren't that many examples of what life was like for them and how they lived it. And so now that we are traditionally living 17 to 20 years longer than we were before, we need a game plan. We need to gather together, and we need to know that there's so much out there that we can do.
That's great. What a wonderful note to end our interview. Terry, you have been a delight.
Oh,
Thank you. And I'm looking forward to getting to know you in person, because we just kind of met here on the YouTube video.
yes, we did.
But I feel like I've known you forever.
Yes.
And I think all of you will feel the same way. So do connect with her or me, and I will have all this information in the description under the YouTube video and on the podcast, so that you will be able to connect with her and me. So we thank you all for being here, for sharing our time together, and we're going to go out dancing to the music.
Okay.
See you
Thank
later,
you.
Terry. I appreciate you. Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.